Hey, we're on the floor at iCAST 2023 with Jacob Wheeler. Rapala booth, man. What are we looking at here today?
Man, it's been 2 years in the making. CrushCity Soft Plastics, Rapala. We teamed up and they basically told me, say, look, Jacob, we need you to make 5 baits, 5 soft plastics that you're going to win tournaments on. Like, what do you need? And so I came up with a swim bait, a Demiki style bait / chatterbait trailer, a Ned rig, a flipping bug, and then a Craw. So that's the overview of it, but really diving deep into this. We're going to start on the Freeloader. This is a Freeloader right here. I've won, and now collectively, before we jump into it, collectively, over the last 7 months, I've won $249,000 on these baits right here. So to say they're tournament proven is pretty easy to say at that point in time. With the Freeloader being the one that I won a major tournament on, I won Gunnersville, the BPT at Gunnersville this year on that. That technique has been unbelievable. It has flat sides to it. It has that flatter belly right there, which allows that bait to rock on a jig head. But in addition to it, it's unbelievable chatterbait trailer. And so that was sort of the mindset. This is sort of a trending technique that has been. It's not just a forward-facing sonar technique either. Obviously, it works well for that, but it's going to trend from shallow water, 2 foot of water, all the way out to 30, 40, 50 feet of water, as deep as a bass is going to live. So this is something that definitely you're going to want to have in your box, and that action, imparting that action to that bait. This bait, because of the flat size and the profile of the bait, is really what separates it from any others out there in the competition. Now, going down the line, I mean, of course, the swim bait, this is called the Mayor of Crush City. And then for the reason, it's one of my favorites. It actually took the longest to create and get the perfect action out of it. Yep. So any swim bait, you want to make sure it's consistency of action. Here's a 3-inch and here's a 4-inch. And so it's consistency of action is everything. Slower retrieve, you want it always to be kicking.
Sure.
With the pressure that we've had on a lot of our bodies of water, more anglers fishing now, one thing that I really wanted to do with these baits is I wanted to have a subtle kick, but a consistent kick. And that's exactly what we did. So with this 4-inch right here, he has that real subtle kick, but he also has that body roll that you want in a swim bait. Yeah. And that's exactly the key with this. Obviously a shad profile, deeper belly. And this is sort of like, I took a lot of my inspiration off of a Storm Largo shad and just basically made it better. Yeah. And that was, listen, I've caught a lot of bass over the years with a Storm Largo shad, and this bait right here, premium colors, premium soft plastics, it's dialed in. Yeah. So this is a NED BLT, and so like you think, okay, Ned rig's a Ned rig. Okay, no. I wanted something to separate from the Ned rig, a traditional Ned rig. I wanted a longer tapered worm that has action. A traditional Ned rig's stubbier, right? This has a little bit more action to him. And that's really something that I wanted to ultimately have. Now, in addition to that, TPE, so it's super durable, also high floating. So I didn't put a lot of salt in these baits because I wanted it to ultimately stand up a 1/4 ounce Ned head. That was really a major key in doing that. And then of course, I paired this is the best of show VMC swinging net. Now this right here is an articulated Ned head. It's not locked down, so it has a lot more free range of motion. You could Texpose it and Texas rig it, or you could actually thread it. But the key with that is no matter what you're throwing on there, whether you're throwing a 1/4 or you're throwing a 3/8, it's always going to be floating. And it has a little bit more free range of motion, and that's really important. So that's the new Ned. And last two we have, I'll just go jump into the cleanup Craw. The cleanup Craw was a bait that I wanted to have durability. You have raised ribs right here for Texposing. And then when you rip those ribs, you can go back to the base of the body and get another fish or two out of the base of the body in Texposing that area. Inverted legs, to where every time you move that bait, that water will ultimately push them back downward, and then it'll be a quivering action. And then a consistent action in the legs on the actual business end of kicking. Yep. I want that to where I can support everything that I do, where I have a consistent action. And that's exactly what we did with the cleanup Craw.
Sweet.
And then last but not least is the Bronco Bug. Very unique looking style bait. It has an undulating crawfish action, and that's something that's obviously it's a fish catcher. One of the best crawfish imitators you can have. Also, because of the hinge right there being thinner, this bait and those legs come up, hit its head when it hits the bottom of the water, like so, boom, hits the bottom on a Texas rig. It'll hit its head, come back as it rests. And so that's just sort of like that Bronco kick. That is why we call it the Bronco Bug. inverted legs, the same thing. But in addition to that, we have double raised rib sides. So that's really important, again, for durability, giving the consumer 1 or 2 more fish per soft plastics. And that was a mindset we wanted to do without the whole brand.
Nice. I mean, what would you say to someone at home who maybe be looking at a competitor or someone other than Rapala? Why would they go with these?
You know, I mean, number one, you know, it's tournament proven, you know, and in addition to that, like my mindset was, you know, how can I make a product that is still durable but does everything that I wanted to do on the water? So durability has been a huge part of that. Giving the consumer the best product I possibly could with the durability to match it was really the key, and I think these baits are just superior.
Nice. Well, you heard it straight from the mouth of Jacob Wheeler, #1 bass angler in the world. Get yours today on sportsmansguide.com.